Welcome to this workflow demo series from Audiginal, and this specific demonstration focused on dictation, conversion, the addition of brand enhancements to documents, signature, storage, and output. Before we get started, I'll just share a little bit about Audiginal. We are an established European business-to-business distributor of software solutions and the associated services and hardware. We are focused on print, capture, document workflow automation and speech recognition solutions and services. We have a broad portfolio of market-leading solutions and brands, and we are independent, privately owned, and benefit from our own pre-sales, implementation, and technical support resources. The intent of this workflow demo series is to highlight and demonstrate some specific software solutions and services, to explain the features and benefits that resellers can enable for their end customers, along with the issues and opportunities that can be addressed, to provide resellers with the information and confidence to open relevant discussions with their customers, and to ensure that resellers are aware of the solutions and professional services that are available to them from Audiginal. So this particular workflow demonstration is going to look at a number of things. We're going to look at document creation using voice to dictate. We're going to do some conversion. We will be adding some enhancements to a document. We will use e-signature, and we will be outputting the document into a number of different locations. A typical customer scenario might be the need to create documents quickly and simply, benefiting from the speed of speech rather than typing. There may be a need for automated document workflow, including submission, review, and approval. There could be the need to enhance documents based on some rules or data that has been extracted. There may be a PDF workflow and a requirement to edit or electronically sign documents. And there may be a need to submit documents to print or into storage or into additional or subsequent workflows. So this demonstration is going to show speech recognition and automated document completion. We're going to show document conversion, enhancement, and reformatting. We will show the extraction of metadata and some rule-based processing. And we will show PDF workflow steps to secure and e-sign a document. Digital capture and workflow splitting, including to secure mobile print and storage, will also be shown. Now, why is this important to a customer? Well, customer workflows and business processes can be complex and can include multiple activities. And digitizing those solutions must include the integration and automation and collaboratively deliver customer benefits in terms of productivity, compliance, security, resource efficiency, etc. Automated digital workflows support flexible and hybrid working environments for workers and organizations, and that is more important now than it has ever been in the past. So the technologies that we're going to be using within this demonstration are the Dragon Professional Anywhere Speech Recognition Solution, Kofax Control Suite, which is an input-output workflow management solution, Kofax Power PDF, which allows the creation, editing, and processing of PDF documents, and Kofax SignDoc, which is a secure and fully compliant e-signature solution. Now, in a moment, we're going to show you a live demonstration of these software solutions being used in our workflow, but I thought I'd start by walking you through that workflow at a functional level. Now, this is quite useful because a number of the things that will happen in the live demonstration happen within a server or in a lights out environment, and they're not easy to see. In fact, some of them you will not see because they are system tasks. So I've broken them down here so that you understand exactly what is going on and which components are being used. The other thing I would just draw your attention to is that there are a number of hats up here in the top corner of the document, and that is to remind me to tell you that myself and my colleague Nick will be playing the role of a number of different people within the actual demonstration. So in some respects, we will be wearing many different hats. So you'll need to keep track of which part of the process we're at and which role we are playing, so which hat we are wearing. So let's take a look at this workflow. Well, we're going to start by creating a new document. In fact, we're going to complete a form using the Dragon speech recognition solution. And once we've created that form, we're going to send it via email into an automated workflow. At this point, the Control Suite solution will take over, and specifically the Output Manager module within that system. It will watch, fill, and receive the new email. It will convert it from a Word document to a PDF. It will extract some specific text, and then it will determine the document type and the rules that need to be applied. At that point, it will be able to add any letterheading or branding that may be appropriate. Before looking at the terms and conditions and adding a terms and conditions file, again based on rules, validating client account number, adding some machine readable information, and then creating a final document with a new name and with extracted metadata. At this point, the Output Manager module will pass the document over to the AutoStore module, still within Control Suite, and that will read the barcodes and various pieces of text that are important to us, and it will upload the document into SharePoint using that captured metadata to file it in the correct location with the correct information. It will then send an email from SharePoint to confirm that this has happened. That email will be received by the professional services administrator, who will happen to be using Power PDF and SignDoc. They will receive the email, they'll download it and open it in Power PDF. They will then be able to initiate the integrated SignDoc capability and add the signatories that are required to sign this document before sending it as email. At this point, the recipients or the signatories of that email will receive a new email. They will open the document, the signing pack. They will be able to follow the instructions, review the document, and then e-sign in the appropriate place. Once they have signed it, the document is automatically returned back to the creator. They'll be able to download and open that attachment again in Power PDF to check that everything has been signed as expected. And then they're going to enter it into another Control Suite automated workflow. And this is using the integration between Power PDF and Control Suite. Control Suite will take that job and it will split it 3 ways. The first thing it's going to do is to create a print stream, and it will put that job, that document, into a secure release queue. So the user will then be able to release that at whatever point using either swipe card, PIN number, or in this case, we're going to be using mobile print and mobile print release. The second stream that the Control Suite will create, and it will be using the AutoStore module to do this, will be to store the document, the approved document, in an approval area within SharePoint. And again, it will use the relevant pieces of metadata in order to file that in the right place with the right information. And then the final thing will be to create another storage area, only this time we're using Microsoft Dynamics. And having stored the document in Dynamics, we're going to enable another piece of Control Suite, this time Business Connect, to review that document via a mobile device, so either a phone or tablet, which will be very useful for people in working in remote locations. But not just review, they can then enter the document into a work activity via the Business Connect solution. In this case, we're going to do a security review, and we're going to check the document for personal information, and we're going to redact it. And then having done so, we're going to send an email containing the secured document to a recipient. At this point, the process will end. Now, as I said, there's a lot going on, but now I'm going to move from the slides over to the live demonstration where Nick and I will take you through this workflow happening in real time. So let's start this workflow demonstration with a form that we've created in Microsoft Word. We've called it the Bespoke Work Authorization Form. And we're going to fill that in using the Dragon speech recognition system, which you can see is running here. A couple of things to notice about this form. There is some white space at the top, which you will see get used later on in the demonstration. There are a number of fields that we are going to fill in a moment. And if I scroll down here, you'll see that there are some blocks where we will be using signatures later on. And then right at the bottom, there is a barcode down in the footer, which actually is used later as part of the recognition process. So I'm just going to turn Dragon on, and we're then going to use that to dictate directly into this document to move from field to field, filling in information as we go. I'm going to bring in some predetermined bits of text in the form of email addresses and a comment about terms and conditions, and I'm going to use Dragon to correct something as I go through here. So let me just make Dragon listen. Next field, Original UK. Next field, 123123. Next field, 4. Undo that. Numeral 4. Next field, PR1297. Next field, £4,000. Next field, Nick Pugh. Next field, Nick email. Next field, Stephen Lockyer. Next field, Stephen email. Next field, creation and implementation of bespoke document workflow. New line, bold that, standard term. So I'll just stop Dragon listening there. And you can see that we've entered free speech information. I've brought in several blocks of predetermined text. And the last thing that I need to do is to ask Dragon to save this file so that we can then use it in the next part of the process. So again, I'll just set Dragon to listening. Save file. And you may have seen at the top of the page that it said that it was saving there and has saved this Word document for future use. So in the next part of the demonstration, we will show this document being sent into an automated workflow. And again, we're going to use Dragon to complete some of those tasks. Now that we've created our workflow authorization form, we now need to send that to the professional services team to organize getting the customer to approve it. And again, we're going to use Dragon speech recognition to help us do some of those tasks. So whereas before we were using Microsoft Word, I now have the Outlook email client open, and you can see that Dragon is here ready to go. We're going to use Dragon to create a new email, to fill in some of the detail, to bring in, again, some predetermined text, and to then send that document on its way. So if I just put Dragon into listening mode, you'll then see me go through those steps. New email. Workflow email. Subject line. Bespoke work authorization form. Tab. Dear Professional Services Team, comma, new line. Please arrange for the client to approve this bespoke work request. Full stop. New line. New line. Bold that. My signature. So you saw several things happen there, including me using some punctuation and telling it that I wanted to put a piece of predetermined text in, but in bold. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is attach the file. Because this involves browsing through the filing structure, it's not a task that is easy for Dragon to do. So I'm just going to insert the document now. And then I'm going to issue a command actually to Dragon to send this email. I know I could press the send button, but this is just demonstrating the kinds of things that you could do in an automatic way. Send email. And you saw there that Dragon recognized the send email command and knew exactly what to do and has now sent that email on its merry way. And we will see it later on in the next stages of the process.
Thank you, Stephen, for that introduction and the workflow that you've done in Dragon. So, hi everyone, my name's Nick Pugh. I'm a pre-sales analyst with Audiginal. So, as you saw in that last section, Stephen had sent the email. So what we're looking at here is the Output Manager console, and we're waiting for that email to come in. So if I just click onto my All Destinations spooled section, oh, you can see the email. There it is. It's coming in. You can see it's going through processing rules. So you can see at the moment the job type is docx. It's now a PDF, and you'll see it's going through further processing of rules. And there's a couple of things that have gone on there. What I want to do is explain a little bit more about what Output Manager's done in that section there. What I've also done is I've deliberately disabled the destination where this job, that now that it's processed through Output Manager, which is part of Control Suite, where that job's going to go to next in the chain, because if I didn't, the job would have come in and gone out, and I wouldn't have had any opportunity to talk about what's going on. So, as already said, the job arrived, and you saw the Word document that Stephen had used, Dragon, and the emailing of it. Output Manager is monitoring an email source. What actually arrived in that email source was a docx. So the first thing that we're going to do is perform a document transform on the docx file. It could be a PPT, it could be Visio, it could be in numerous other formats, but in our example, it was Word doc. And we're using a inbuilt function within Output Manager. It's a .NET 4 application called Expose that takes care of those document transforms, and they convert from OpenOffice, Microsoft Office, to a PDF format. So that's the first part of that process. We also applied some branding or e-stationery or letterheading, and probably easier if I actually show you this. So this is a job that's waiting to go out, but I can actually view it. So let's view it, and I can talk about what's actually happened there. So here's the branding. You can see we've added our company logos at the footer as well. We've also added terms and conditions, because Stephen in this section of the document here had put original standard T's and C's. We're looking in this area, doing a text extraction, and if this area contains original standard T's and C's, that's what we're actually using to put the T's and C's on. If he'd have put original T's and C's version 7, we could have put a completely different terms and conditions file into the document. So you can see the terms and conditions there are our standard terms and conditions. So we've done the stationery, we've done the terms and conditions. We've also done a text extraction on the client account number, so this area here. And then we've done a database lookup to look up account number 123123. And what we've actually come back with is a metadata field as a result of that lookup, which is the account number is Audiginal UK. Now, I know that's already on the form. So you might wonder, well, why did we look it up? It's because we want to validate that this really is the correct account number for that client account name. So we've done a little bit of validation on it. If that is correct, then we take the value that we extracted here, 123123, and we add a barcode at the top of the page, top left, just up in that area there, with a HRI underneath it. We've chosen a 1D barcode. It could have been a 2D barcode, QR data matrix, or other type of 1D barcode. Output Manager supports up to 40 different types of barcodes in terms of generating them or reading them. So we put the barcode on because we're going to use that in the next stage of the process, which is the AutoStore process. We're going to do further processing and routing the document into SharePoint. The last thing that I just want to mention was we modified the document name. So the original document name, if we just take a look in retained, was Bespoke Work Authorization Form. We've actually taken some of our fields, the 123123 or Digital UK and BWAF, and by the way, we knew that it was a BWAF form, Bespoke Work Authorization Form, because that was on a barcode in the lower right, which is just down there. So in that section, oops, I haven't got my little area drawer on. Down there, that's a barcode that contains BWAF. So we know what form type it is. So I'm going to now ready this release or re-enable my control suite destination. So this is using the WJS, the workflow job submission, to send the job from Output Manager to AutoStore. Both of these products are part of the control suite solution. So that's going to head off and go through to AutoStore. While that's processing, I'm going to show you what that workflow submission is, what's going on as it comes into AutoStore. So it's coming in through a WJS. It's going through the OP barcode because, again, it's reading the barcode that Output Manager put on the page in the top left-hand corner to extract the client account number and to validate it. We're doing some OCRing, so we're doing some extraction of the fields, such as the total amount of the project code, the total amount of days required, the project price, submitter email, submitter name, approver name, approver email. So we're extracting the remainder of the fields. And then we're not using the data filter or the document writer. The job is going out via the multi-router route component in AutoStore, and it's going across into SharePoint. So hopefully in the time that I was speaking, the job has gone across to SharePoint. So we're going to take a look in the SharePoint site. We're using the metadata that we extracted. So we're not just putting the job into SharePoint. We're using the extracted metadata, the project code, the price, and the work authorization type, the client account code, to generate the structure within the SharePoint site. So there's the directory that it's going into, the site. You can see that it's put it into a BWAF. So if I use the different barcode for the workflow type, it would generate a specific folder for that workflow type. We're going to take a look in here, and we've got the 123123 or Digital UK BWAF form. You can see the fields. So these fields here, the account name, account number, project name, total price, description, and number of days of work. These are all fields that we did the extraction on. You can see how they're presented there. And we also have the opportunity to open the document from within SharePoint, and it'll look exactly the same as it was when it was in Output Manager, but it's filed into the right section. And what will also have happened is the SharePoint site automation will have sent an email to the person responsible for the next stage of the process. So I'm going to leave you that, and we're going to move on to the next stage of the process. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick. And now if we look at the email client in front of us, we can see that the email message that Nick was saying would be sent from SharePoint has indeed been sent and has arrived. Now, before we continue with this, I will just remind you that at the very beginning I said Nick and I would be wearing many hats during this demonstration or playing the part of different individuals within a workflow. So for this part of the workflow, I'd like you to imagine that I am the professional services administrator, and I'm going to be taking the document that was originally created using Dragon at the beginning of the process and was then recognized and extracted and improved with the branding and the letterheads and the barcodes and terms and conditions, etc. Was improved by Control Suite. I'm going to be taking that document now as it's come through SharePoint, and my responsibility is to get it signed by the client. And in order to do that, I'm going to download the document. We're going to review it using a piece of PDF creation and editing software called Power PDF. And we're then going to use the integration that Power PDF has with the SignDoc e-signature package to then add some electronic signature blocks and get that sent out to the two clients, to our customer at this point. So let's have a look. If we go into the email, what we should see is that a message has been sent from SharePoint saying that a document has been added and is awaiting e-signature preparation. And I can see that it's got the correct client account number and client name that we've been working on in this example demonstration. So if I click on this, it will open it up in the viewer, and you can see that we're looking at the SharePoint site here. Here's the document, which is the one we've been working on up to now. So I'm just going to download that document into my downloads folder so I can then work on it locally. So that has now come down. Just close this and minimize that. And if we go into the downloads folder, there is the document that we've been looking at. So I'm just going to double click that and it will open in Power PDF. I'll just make that slightly smaller so we can see more of the document. And yeah, so Power PDF, very powerful PDF creation and editing technology solution. I've got the ability in here, if I'd like, I can go in and I can edit various parts of the text itself, or I can overtype, or I can move items. I can stamp various things on top of the document as well. I've also got some security features. So for instance, I could choose some text and redact it. And actually what we're going to do today is within the security features, we're going to use the integration that it has with Kofax SignDoc. So if I go in here and tell it that I would like to send via Kofax SignDoc, if you remember, I'm going to put the signature blocks in and I'm going to send it to the customers, the customer contacts, for them to approve this work and this spend. So I can change various things about it. If I want to, I can change the description, but we'll leave it as it is. What I'm going to do is add some signatories. So I'll just scroll down to the bottom here to where the signature boxes are. And I'm going to add approver 1, and approver 1 is going to be Nick. So I'm going to put Nick's email address in. Okay. And we need to add a signature block for him, which we're going to put here. And then just to help him when he receives this, I'm going to put a little label on it saying, Nick, please sign here. Now, we need to add another one for approver 2. So we go up here and say approver 2, and that will be Stephen. That'll be another hat that I shall be wearing when I play the customer in a moment. And email address. Okay, and then we need to put a signature block in for me. Just put it here. And a little note, just a reminder. And then I think we are good to go. Now, one of the things I could have done if I'd wanted to would be to have the signature steps happen in a particular order. I actually have them set at the moment to complete in any order. So the signature pack will be sent to both Nick and I simultaneously. It doesn't matter who signs it first, so long as we both sign it. but I could turn that off and then set the order at which people will receive the signature pack for signing, which is really useful if you need the first person to approve it and the second person to approve it based on what the first person has done. So that should all be good to go now. So we're just going to come up here and tell it to send the package to the recipients. It has their email, so that should all be good. And what we can see is it's checking the properties. It's connected to the server. SignDoc is a server-based or cloud-based solution. It has sent the package, so that has gone off to the recipients, and they will now receive an email in their inbox with the next steps that need to be followed. However, before we go and have a look at that, let me just take you into SignDoc itself. I can talk to it via the web, so we can just close that SharePoint window. And here is SignDoc. You can create signature packs and distribute signature packs from the SignDoc console here. You don't have to be using Power PDF, but it's very useful if you have a PDF workflow to have that integration. But what I wanted to show you was that if I just do a refresh, you will see that we now have a Kofax SignDoc package that's just been created within the platform. And if I go into that particular package, it's confirming that both Nick Pugh and Stephen Lockyer, who have the roles of signer, have been informed. They've been sent the pack. I can look at the document itself that's been sent to them. And what's quite important is I can look at the audit trail. Now, at the moment, it just tells me that Stephen Lockyer created the signing pack and actually owns this, and that both Nick and Stephen have been sent signing packs to approve. This will grow as both Nick and I access the documents as the end customer and then review and sign. But what's important is to note that it creates a full audit log of what's been created, who it's been sent to, who's done what, and what the current status is. So I will just go back here, and we will then move across to the next stage of the process, which will be looking at the signing process from the customer or the recipient's perspective. So now, in my role as the end customer or client, I can see in my inbox that I've just received an email from OrDigiSign, which is the name that we've given to our SignDoc service within OrDigital. And it's telling me that an e-sign request has been sent to me. So, dear Stephen, please e-sign this document with Kofax SignDoc, which is great. So if I just go into that email now, you'll see that I've got the ability to click on a link and open the document that's been sent to me to review and sign. So I shall do that right now. An important point to note here is that the recipient, the client in this case, does not need to have Kofax SignDoc installed in order to be able to sign documents. See, when we created them as the supplier, and we have the solution installed there, we send it out to the client, they can review and sign without actually having to install anything. The other thing to note is that Kofax SignDoc can be branded however you would like. Ours is branded with the OrDigital logo. But let's have a look at what we've got. So it says, welcome Stephen, some documents have been made available for you to review and or sign. Please verify the details below and click on the next button. So it's just confirming that this is indeed me. I'm happy with that, so let's just say next. The next thing that comes up is a consent, an e-sign consent. This is effectively me saying that I agree to use an e-signature to continue this purpose. Obviously, if I do not want to use an e-signature, I can decline at this point, but it does require a tick box so that there is a definite positive acceptance of e-signature technologies. So we've done that, so we'll click next. And then it shows me the document that's been sent. Now I have the ability to take a look at that document to see what it is, and I can see that it's come from in this case it's come from Audiginal, but it's to do with a client account, which is Audiginal UK. That's me with my account number, and I'm being asked to approve £4,000 for 4 days of work in relation to that particular project. So I can see down here that approver 1 hasn't signed yet, but that's okay because we can sign in any order. I am approver 2, and there are the terms and conditions pages as well, so that I can read those and make sure I'm happy with everything that's being provided. When I am happy, this is where I need to sign, so I can click in here, and there's a little note that says, Stephen, please sign here. If you remember, that was added. I added it when I actually created these packs a little while ago. I've got several options. So I can choose the signing method in this particular case, although when a signing pack is created, you can restrict the mechanisms that can be used. So I can sign with a photograph, I can sign with my signature using my mouse or a tablet to sign in the box, or I can use Click to Sign, which stamps this with a signature and a code. So I'm going to use the Click to Sign in this case. And it says, please enter my full name. So I will do. And when I click apply, you will see that it puts a signature stamp in there, confirming how it's been signed using a secure ID with a date and time stamp. Once I'm happy with that, I can then click the Save button up here in the top corner. And I can then finish. And it confirms that I am indeed done. I have completed my part of the signing process. Once all of the recipients have signed the document, they will all receive a copy of the final version of the PDF file with all of the signatures in it. So the next step in the process will be for us to wait for the other approver, which is Nick, for him to sign his document as well, and then we will move forwards.
Hi there, thanks Stephen. So we're on to the next segment. So this is the email that I've got as a required signer for this document. So you can see the email in my inbox there. So I'm just going to click and open. Please e-sign this document. So I'm going to click the Open Documents box, and I'm going to read the instructions. And there's a nice little 4-step process there, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's very easy to understand what I've got to do. I'm clicking next. I'm agree to use an electronic signature and accept the legal implications of that. And you can see here, here's the document, and here's the sign button, which is going to open the document. Here's my box. It's telling me, Nick, please sign here. So I'm going to click there. As Stephen said, there are several options, so I'm going to show you a slightly different one. I'm going to show you the signature option, and I'm going to put my moniker on here. That's as good as it gets. And I hit apply. And then just up at the top here on the top left, there's a save button. I'm hitting save. And if I needed to go back in and to change that, oh, no, I don't want to sign it, or I want to use a different sign method, I could go back in and sign, but I'm done. So I'm going to hit finish. And you get the confirmation that you are done and completed. And it's back over now to Stephen for the next part of the process, where he's reviewing what happens now that all of the required parties have done their signing. Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks, Nick. So we're now back with the role of the professional services administrator. So if you remember, this was the person that created the signing packs a little while ago and sent them out to the 2 customer approvers, who happen to be Nick and Stephen. And those signing processes we have just seen. And as the professional services administrator and the person who created the signing packs, I've received a number of notifications. You can see here in my inbox that I received a notification when Stephen opened and completed the signing package, and equally when Nick opened and completed the signing package. again, I received a status email. And then the last email that's now turned up is that the signing package has been completed. And it's telling me that, you know, as the person who created the signing packs in the first place and distributed them, you know, that part of the process has now finished. So let's have a look and see what we've got. If I go into this email, it tells me again, you know, the packs have been completed. I can open the documents. I can go into this little package that it's attached, and it will give me some information. But the main thing that it does, if I just make it a little bit smaller, is it allows me to open several documents. So one is the Power PDF document itself, or the signing document, and if I open that, we can see that here is the document we've been working on all through this process, and it has been signed by both Stephen Lockyer and by Nick. One used click to sign, the other used the sign in the box. The other thing that we can see, if I just go back to that document here, is that it gives us access to an audit trail, which is just a cut down version of the online audit trail that we looked at before, and it shows, you know, who's done what. And actually, while we're talking about that, what I can now do, if I go back onto the web page for SignDoc, if you remember before, we looked at SignDoc through this view as well, because we were able to see the audit trail. I'm just going to do a refresh. And it now tells me that this package has been completed. And again, if I go in here, I can see that both Nick and Stephen have completed their tasks. The completed document will be in there. And if I look in the audit trail, if you remember before, I said it would grow, and it has done. It incorporates the various points where Stephen signed his and Nick signed his. So and then it also shows that, you know, at that point in time, the email was sent to Stephen, who was the person who created them, to confirm that everything was done. So that brings us to the end of the SignDoc part of this process. So we've had a document that's been created, that's been improved through Control Suite, that's now been, you know, reviewed in Power PDF, that has been put through an e-signature process using SignDoc. What we're now going to do is open that completed document again in Power PDF, and then insert that into another Control Suite workflow, which will then distribute the document to the various places that we ultimately want it to go. And I'll be passing over to Nick, who will be taking us through that.
Thank you for that, Stephen. Hi, everyone. It's Nick again. So I'm going to carry on with the workflow from this point. So we've opened the document in Power PDF, and we're ultimately going to feed this document into the locations that this document needs to be distributed to. We're going to do that via an integration into Control Suite, which is via Auto Capture. So there's a little button down here, the Integration Auto Store panel. We could have multiple workflows in here, but we're doing a send to output manager, which is one of the Control Suite components that's going to handle that distribution. And I'll talk about where that document's going to get distributed to when we move over to output manager and see the files coming in. So we're just going to double click send to output manager. We just wait a few seconds for it to connect. We can collect some metadata at this point through Auto Capture, and we're going to give this a reference, which is bar D3641 if we needed to. What's going to happen is it's going to take this reference that I've typed in and actually use it as part of the file naming, but we could use it for a multitude of purposes. We could use it for ultimately where it's going to route, and you'll see that we've got an option list here. We're not actually using this option list in this workflow, but option A may be to send it to one place, option B maybe to send it to two places, option 3 maybe to send it to 3. We could actually name those options in that option list. So we've got the reference in there. and we're going to hit send to Output Manager. And then we're going to move over to the Output Manager server. And I'm just going to show the jobs coming in. And you can see the 3 jobs. You saw one job very briefly if you're observant arrive. This is now split into 3 options. You can see we've got the metadata from auto capture there. And what we've actually done, as I said, is we've added the user reference to the document name, and the document name is made up of the document owner. This is the user that was logged in and using auto capture. You can see that we're sending it to a couple of different destinations, and I'm going to talk about those distributed destinations. So the first destination that the job is going to get sent to is a secure release queue. So this is now waiting for me to log in and do a secure release. I could do that from an MFD, or in actual fact, what I'm going to do is log into Kofax Business Connect and do a mobile, secure, touchless release of that document. We've got another copy of the document which is going to this destination. We've called it MD02 out to AutoStore. This is going to put it into through AutoStore and then ultimately into SharePoint, but it's going to put it into SharePoint in an approved folder because we know this job has now been approved. The third option is we're going to route a copy of the job to MS Dynamics, and we're going to show you a little bit of a demo later of submitting a job that's in MS Dynamics back through another Business Connect activity, which is going to do a mobile content analysis, detection and redaction. So let's start off with so I've manually stopped these from going out because if I didn't, you would see nothing. So I've deliberately disabled some destinations. The first destination that I'm going to enable is my out to Dynamics. Actually, no, I'm going to do my second destination, the out to AutoStore, which is going to SharePoint. So as soon as I enable that, the job's going to go busy. The job will end up in SharePoint. So we'll just wait a few seconds for that to go. This is using the workflow job submission service into AutoStore. AutoStore's then analyzing the data and picking up the correct filing. So let's just go back. We're in the wrong folder here. So we're filing it again like we did the first time round when it was pending a signing. It's going into the workflow folder. It should appear in an approved folder. If that folder wasn't there, it would automatically create it. It will then create the folder based on the client account number, and you can see that job literally as we were talking there. It's come in and created the folder because this was from earlier. Oh no, the bottom one was from earlier today. This is the one from just now. You can see we've got the document there and it's got the user reference in it. And again, at this point, we can open the document and we're now viewing the document. This is the signed document. So we're storing a copy of the pre-signed document and the post-signed document for our business purposes. So that's pretty much it for the SharePoint side of things. We're going to go back now and look at the second stream, which was the job that is going out to our waiting for mobile release. So I'm just going to switch to Business Connect now. So there could be a pause. So please stand by. So we're going to log in to Business Connect. So I'm selecting Business Connect. Oh, actually, I'm going to log out because I was already logged in. So just bear with me. So it requires authentication, username and password. I've got mine set up for using my fingerprint. And this is the user that I want to log in with. And we're going to go ahead and log in. And at this point, we can take a look at our print queue. And we can find with a QR code. Now, before I do that, I could be in a remote location, in a field, away from the office, and I want to know where my nearest office is that has got a printer. So first of all, I'm going to hit the bottom option, which is locate nearby MFD printer. it's going to use GPS to work out where I am, and that's exactly where I am. And you can see there's also in this location, there's a push pin there. So it just so happens that I'm not too far away from an office, and I can go ahead and hit that push pin. And this is a floor plan of the office in the location that's nearest to me, and it shows me where the printer is. So I can actually now go to that location and find that printer in the office. When I arrive at that printer, to be able to authenticate, so touchless release, I'm going to hit scan with QR code. And I don't have a printer available here, but I do have a QR code, which is for printer 3. So you can see documents that are waiting for me to print, and I can select the document that I want to print. We've obviously got 2 documents sitting there. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that one. If I wanted to, I could change metadata copies, but I'm just going to go ahead and do a print. And you can see there we've got a confirmation that request to print has been selected for this document, has been sent to the print server. The printer will now be printing my document. We talked about also the ability, so the ability from within Business Connect to access the jobs that have been sent to Microsoft Dynamics. So at the moment, I've got the My Files view there, and you can see the bottom option, MS Dynamics. So we should be seeing in a second the job with Bardi 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is there. So I'm now able to, I can either open this, so I can open in an app, so I can view the job, and this is the same document that was in SharePoint. This is a copy that's in Dynamics. You can see there that it's exactly the same. And what we could have done also, and what we're going to do now, is we're going to attach this to an activity, which is in my document management activity. And we've got data protection, check and redact. I can change so this is a workflow that will check that document for content. And what it's actually going to be doing is looking for keywords, patterns, phrases that could be regular expression. We've put in a list of project codes that need to be redacted, and the particular project code for this job is going to be detected and redacted, and the project code is PR1297. I could email that back to someone else other than myself. So I'm going to hit the submit. That's now going through a process, and we're going to take a look at Output Manager and see that job going through Output Manager processing and then ultimately arrive in my email. Okay, so the processing happened very, very quickly in Output Manager. As I said, it went through a checklist of an external list of words, patterns, and regular expression. And if it found one of those words, it would classify the document as compromised. If it didn't find one, it would classify the document as clean. As you can see from my email, I've got an email here to say that I've got a compromised document. So let's go ahead and click on it. You can see that your document has been scanned using your mobile phone, OCR, converted to PDF, and checked against our watch list for compliance and if necessary redacted. It does confirm there that our job was compromised, and we're able to now look at our job, which came from MS Dynamics, and you'll see in this area here next door to the project name that the project code that was there earlier has now been also redacted. I'm going to now hand back over to Stephen for a summary. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick. Well, like I said at the beginning, there was a lot going on, and Nick and I were wearing a number of hats. So let's just have a quick summary of what we've seen. We were looking at a customer scenario where they needed to create documents quickly using the speed of speech. We were looking at needing automated workflows. We wanted to enhance the document based on rules and extracted data. We had a PDF-based workflow, and we needed to submit documents into print and into various storage locations or subsequent workflows. All of which I think we've seen. We've seen speech recognition, we've seen document conversion, enhancement and reformatting. We've seen metadata being extracted and rules being used within the processing. We've seen a PDF workflow within a PDF package, and we've seen the integrated e-signature capability being used. And we've seen the workflow splitting into a number of different routes, both in terms of print and storage. We said that this was important to customers because they needed integrated digital solutions that automated and allowed collaborative working to deliver benefits of productivity, compliance, security, and efficiency. We also said that this kind of technology was important because it supported flexible and hybrid working environments and flexible and hybrid workers. And the technology, just to remind you, that we've seen has been Dragon Professional Anywhere, the speech recognition solution, Kofax Control Suite, which was doing the orchestration, extraction, routing, and management of these processes. We've seen Power PDF driving the Power PDF workflow, and we've seen SignDoc delivering e-signature. Now, of course, with this kind of technology, there's always extra things that we could do within a workflow. Some other things that we might have done, we may have added additional handling of unstructured or structured documents. So for instance, we could have been looking at forms processing or invoices. We could have integrated with vertical or sector specific line of business systems. Obviously, we were talking to SharePoint and Dynamics, but we could have been talking to a legal practice management system or to a specific ERP system or to maybe a health management, patient management system. There are connectors available for many of these solutions. We could have submitted jobs to print. We did a mobile print release, but we could have gone into other Office print management solutions, or we could have integrated with a print room, including job redirection and print room control features. And maybe we would have added additional security and compliance features, so redaction or blocking, alerts. We could have even used some stamps and additional marking on the document. So hopefully you found this really useful and interesting. If you would like more information, you can visit our website, which is www.audiginal.com, where you'll find lots of documentation and also can contact us should you have inquiries. Thank you ever so much for your time.